Bisciotti a few weeks back talking about Lamar Jackson and getting a new extension done, and he says he would love to get one done. Did say there's a mechanism in place, and I did see Dan Graziano, because we had a debate at the time when he said that. Could they actually do it? Could Lamar prevent it? Graziano wrote a piece post-combine. Yes, they can, and no, he can't prevent it. So they can create the void years and do what Bisciotti said, which is get his cap number down to what it was this past year, doing that kind of machinations with the void years. Alas, how big a deal would it be if they aren't able to get a deal done with Lamar Jackson?
I think it would be a very, very big deal. It's something that you want to prevent at all costs, because all you're doing is kicking the can down the road, and we're going to be right back at this spot next year. But it's not only that, Ken. Like Joel Corry, former longtime NFL agent, friend of the show, he's been on the show several times. He recently put out a piece for CBSSports.com going into all of the different scenarios of what could happen with the Lamar Jackson contract. And let's just play the void year game. And Joel put out there that the Ravens could free up as much as close to $37.5 million in cap space by kicking the can, restructuring, adding the void years. That's the positive. The negative is that money, it comes collect at some point. It raises his cap hit next year in 2027 from $74.5 million to nearly $87 million. And then you still have that dead cap charge in the void years following it. So even if the Ravens were to get Lamar to a contract extension next year, you still have all of that signing bonus proration that's still going to hit the cap, that's going to make Lamar's initial cap figure of a new deal higher than it needs to be. But the other aspect of it is Lamar would be entering a true contract year if this goes into next year, because he's got the no franchise tag clause. He will be a true contract year player for the Ravens with that even more inflated cap number than as presently constructed. I just think that could throw a huge wrench into things next year.
So there's multiple layers to this for me, and you just pointed out one of them. If they just play the game of void years, they can clear $38 million in cap room, which added to the $19 million of room they currently have.
It's a lot of money to play with. That's before Marlin.
Yeah, and before some cuts. So they can go into free agency with probably well over $60 million in cap room, which is a nice chunk of change. So, like, the immediate future is not dire because you have these mechanisms in place and you will have the cap room. What comes into play is, though, you don't want to go to a contract year with Lamar Jackson. And it was difficult the last time around. Him not having an agent makes it probably a little harder. Does he want to get a deal done? Nobody knows, and they keep this stuff very private, but I don't think it's from lack of trying.
No. Look, I'm sure both parties are working hard towards this, and I will at least credit both sides. There really hasn't been any leaks this go-around compared to last time, which was way too much he said, she said. But it's also worth pointing out, Ken, like, if they get the contract extension, you can clear a similar amount of cap space there, too.
Well, that's the same. Yeah.
And you get the cost certainty. But the other layer of this, if you do kick the can and you wait till next year, Lamar has all the leverage, and Lamar can wait until the other quarterbacks sign. Jayden Daniels, Drake Maye, Caleb Williams. They are all eligible for a contract extension for the first time next year. So the quarterback market is going to absolutely get reset with those three guys. And if you're Lamar Jackson, if you're trying to hold out for the top dollar, you can wait until those guys sign and then negotiate off that.
Well, the reality is this. Assuming Lamar Jackson has a Lamar Jackson type year this year, he's going to make more money after this coming year than he would right now. Because,
Absolutely.
Because it's not about who's best, it's about who's next. And as you said, Jayden Daniels, Drake Maye, Caleb Williams, they're going to sign extensions. The market's going to go up because they're going to make more than Josh Allen did. There will be restructures for, say, a Pat Mahomes. Like, the money is going to be more. So if you don't get it done now, you're going to end up having to pay Lamar more later.
It always goes up. It always goes up. But I bring up those quarterbacks because I think a huge reason why Lamar Jackson signed last go-around was the Jalen Hurts contract.
Yes.
Where he put out there on Twitter, he requested a trade, things looked really bleak, and then what was it, the draft, the day of the draft or the day before the draft, he ended up signing for slightly more money than Jalen Hurts did.
So this is interesting to me because the one part, we've been talking about this just dire circumstance, but when you think about it, the immediate future is not dire because you'll probably have the same amount of cap room as you would have had otherwise. It's the other stuff that gets a little sweaty.
Yeah, like ultimately this year, it's not the end of the world, but it does make it very difficult for Eric DeCosta because you want to operate not just on this year's cap space, but what does 2027's cap look like? What does 2028 look like? 29, etc. Like it makes Eric DeCosta's job that much more difficult to plan down the line when Lamar's contract only goes through next year with the really inflated number.
And so Steve Bisciotti said he wanted to get a deal done before the new league year. Well, that's less than a week away now. As the new league year is the 11th. Today is, let me just look here at the trusty. Yeah, March 5th. So it's 6 days away, Bone.
I can't
As I sit here right now, I think it's going to be void years.
I think it is too. And we had Jeff Zrebeck of The Athletic on Friday, and I can't remember if you or I asked him the question about Lamar, and Jeff, I'm paraphrasing here, was basically like, how can anyone be confident that this deal is going to get done at this point? I think we're trending towards the void years at this point because Jeff brought up the possibility that maybe you could hold out, like you do have $19 million in cap space right now, but I just don't see that as a true possibility. Eric's going to want all the money that he can possibly get to work with.